Today I'm going to take boring brown paper and turn it into a little mini junk journal, a little zine. So all you're going to need is some brown paper packaging and a sheet of A4 printer paper. I'm just using this because it makes it easier to have as a guide for how big I want to cut out my sheet of paper to be. And I'm just folding along the edges here just so I've got a guide of where I need to cut out the paper, and I'm not worried about it being wrinkled. That will only add to the texture for this little zine that we are going to fold. And this will make a little 8-page no-sew journal. So all you're going to do is fold it in half lengthways and also the opposite way as well. So as you can see here, I'm just folding it in half both ways. And I'm just using my nail just to make sure that the folds are nice and crisp. And then I am also folding it in half again this way, just to make the 8 different sections here, as you can see once I've unfolded it. And then I'm going to fold it in half again, and I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut along the center fold only up until I get to the middle there, as you can see. And then I'm going to unfold it again, fold it in half the opposite way, and then push it in the middle so that it folds in on itself, and it folds into a little 8-page booklet, a little zine. And it's a super easy way just to make a quick little booklet out of some brown paper packaging. So as you can see there, that's how it looks once you have cut and folded it. And now we are going to work in it. So this is my brown paper junk journal. So this I bound completely out of packaging, which I'll leave links down below if you want to see how I made this journal and how I've been working in it. And I've been doing projects that are solely based on how we can use brown paper within our journals. So these are really fun if you just want to work in something separate from your main journal, maybe do a little bit of like a mini theme or to document a specific event. But I just decided to do my standard bit of collage, bit of found text and quotes within mine, because that's just what I've been doing within this journal generally, because I tend to veer more towards the art journaling style, especially with this one that I'm working in. And so I'm decorating the cover here mainly with this patterned paper, and then I'm just sort of making a bit of a collage cluster towards the bottom right hand corner just to have a little bit of a focal point. So I didn't want to make it too busy because I did really like the floral pattern of the paper there, but I just wanted to have a little something. So I was raiding my little pouch there that I've got of paper scraps, and I have this paper here which is actually sticker backing, and I don't know if you can tell, it might not be picking up on camera, but it's got like an embossed effect because the stickers had a raised element to them. So it's not just me sticking white paper onto the cover, there's actually like a really subtle texture and like outline of florals, which I think suits the front cover of this perfectly. And I glued it with the shiny side face down so that I could do some stamping there with my little mini alpha stamps. I decided to come in just with a piece of lace that I have here, and so that I didn't end up stapling the journal together, I decided to sort of open it up and staple it on, as you can see here, so that it is still peeking out of the side once the journal is closed, but then it doesn't prevent me from opening up the zine fully, because I think the fun thing about having a zine like this is that you can obviously work on the reverse if you wanted to. So I don't know, maybe for like some hidden journaling, you could like do some writing in it and then obviously fold it up and have that on the inside, and then just have your collage and decoration on the outside. So I just thought that that would be a nice little addition to have a bit of texture and interest for this little mini journal that I've got going on. So for the rest of the pages, I did my standard little collages, and for some I did double pages, and then for others I focused just on one side or the other. I think it was just really fun to work on. I mean, the journal that I've got as my main brown paper journal is already fairly small like a little bit maybe bigger than A6 size, but this is obviously smaller again, and I think I just really enjoy working on smaller formats. I don't know why. I just find it a lot easier to add the little like scrappy bits of collage. I think maybe because it's playing into the fact that I can never seem to throw any paper away, so they always come into that element on stuff like this. And as you can see, I'm literally just using random bits of paper and trying to keep to somewhat of a similar color scheme as well as I'm working throughout these pages, just so that the zine as a whole has a bit more of a cohesive feel. So I went for something that was quite light and airy with the pinks, and also the paper that I used as the background there, which is, I want to say, like a muted green. It's not quite a sage green, but it just has a nice, it makes me think of like picnics. That was the vibe I was getting from this, was like a picnic. I don't know, maybe it was because I had the fabric from the lace as well, but that's just what it reminded me of. And so I ended up just doing like a collage on the right hand side with a sticker there with some imagery just to have a bit of a focal point. Of course, had to come in with my white pen here. It's a Uniball Signo. It's the only white pen that I use because it's just so amazing. And then I had this strip that I had clearly cut off some paper. So this is what I mean when I say I do not throw any papers away. And look at how perfect this was for this page I was doing. So what I ended up doing was I cut the strip down into little sections here. So I think it was something that I had tea dyed or coffee dyed, and I made it into something that I could then add my quote onto or my writing. So I just cut it into 4 little sections, and then I was able to come in with a brown fine liner pen, and then I was able to use those as negative space and add my writing, because obviously the paper that I had chosen with the pattern was quite busy, and I think if I'd have done any brush lettering on it, it would have got quite lost in that pattern. So having the papers there, I think, really helped to break up the page a little bit, and also carried through some of the neutral tones from the right hand side of the page over then to the patterned paper and just break it up a little bit. So I decided to do a bit of a mix and match with my fonts there. So I did most of the writing with the brown fine liner, and then for the word that I wanted to have emphasis, I just decided to stamp that again with the same stamps that I used for the cover. And halfway through doing the zine, we're having a little break here because then I realised I needed to make sure that I had somewhere that the journal could live within the main brown paper journal. So my solution here was that one of the pages that I had included when I bound the journal was an envelope. And so what I did was I just opened it up at the top, and then also just reinforced the opening there at the side. And then it was the perfect little fit there in the tuck spot, and I just used a paper clip just to check that if I added that it wouldn't like go flying out of the journal. And so now that I know that it's got a home within the main journal, let's carry on with the pages. So these are some little cards that I've been working on separately, and I'd included a few of them already within some of the previous pages of the main journal, and so I decided just to cut one of them to size for the zine here and just use that as sort of a pre-done little piece. And then I just added a bit of collage to back it so that it didn't feel like it was just like completely stuck onto the brown paper and just sort of floating around on the page, if that makes sense. So I just added a few little bits of collage there and the rest of the washi sticker, and just glued it down so that it had a bit of a framing almost. So, you know, just a little bit of washi tape here as well, and also some collage I added on the left hand side just to help this to carry over onto the left hand side of the page so that it didn't feel like it was a page on its own. And then I just added some mark making across the edge of the little piece because I wanted it to kind of feel a little bit like it hadn't just been added on as an afterthought. And then for the back cover, I literally just stuck a little found phrase from a book. That was nothing fancy, but I just found the perfect little phrase that I wanted to add. And then for the last page of the journal here, as you can see, I just unfolded it so I could see what I was doing properly. And I wanted to add this giant washi sticker here. I did tear down one of the sides just to rip the edge so it didn't feel completely like quite harsh with the straight lines, and then added a little bit of collage onto that as well, and then carried the mark making across onto the left hand side because sometimes I feel like I just need to have little bits of the mark making to, I suppose, give a little bit of like an imperfect look. I just feel like it adds a nice bit of texture and a bit of interest, and I don't know, it's just something I like to do on my pages. Like they can be fully collage and not like artsy and painty at all, but then I will just grab like some random pencils or a crayon or something and just like scribble, and it's nothing fancy, it's nothing impressive or anything like that. It's literally just scribbled, but I guess over the time I've been working in my journals, it's just become something that I really love to add to um, my pages. It just adds a little sprinkle of something. What that is, I have no idea, but I just really love to add it to my pages, and it just, I think, just gives that nice like detailed effect. So you'll notice here whenever I do my little collage clusters, I make sure that I have some elements that are not patterned and they're like more plain, because then that gives me a place where I can then come in and just do like little random dots or like drawing circles around things and just helping the collage, I suppose, like come together. So rather than it looking like just a mishmash of different papers, I think it helps to make it a little bit more cohesive and a bit more intentional. So you can see here for the found phrase, I ended up circling it. And so here is the finished mini junk journal zine. I think these are such fun projects when you just want to do a little small journal, and I hope you enjoyed following the process of collaging this. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.